Good afternoon. Welcome to the Jaybe show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. So good to see all of you here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Just to let you guys know, the Jaybe show is here every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So welcome. Come on in. Have a seat. We're going to have a conversation today because it's on. It is on. Look, the Jaybe show. Look, I typically talk about, a lot of serious topics, which I will be talking about today, but I'm also going to be clowning on some people. So, have the laughing emoji ready. I'm just saying. All right. One of the things I would like to say as well is just to let you guys know, if you guys would like to, you guys can actually get email notifications and get on our mailing list at Substack. So you guys can go to revolutionaryblackout.substack.com because yes, you guys need to get the email notifications because the YouTube algorithm is just not that reliable. So if you guys would like to, so that's joining our mailing list, revolutionaryblackout.substack.com. And also, if you would like to, you guys can actually go to our website at revolutionaryblackoutnetwork.com. And if you guys would like some email inquiries to either come on the show to talk about different subjects, or if you guys would like to submit any stories that you may find interesting or some information, you guys can go to info@revblacknetwork.com. We also have YouTube memberships at $3.99. And just to let you guys know, if you guys would like to, we are also doing a fundraiser for our graphics designer, Erin. She does amazing work. You guys can donate at Venmo at Revolutionary Blackout, or you guys can go through Cash App at $mutual aid forever because we love the kiddies. We love the kiddies. So that's why they're holding cats, because they love the kitties. All right. Also, just want to let you guys know before I begin, I have great news. I have wonderful, fantastical news. It's huge. So the fundraising for the Revolutionary Blackout Network chapter here in Orlando for mutual aid, we have exceeded our goal to fundraise. So we're good. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that has donated. I want to say thank you to everybody that has shared and everybody that had just wished us well and getting this thing off the ground. I am so excited. I am so happy. I was able to announce that on Thursday night after the Sabby and Jaybe show, but I also wanted to reiterate my excitement, happiness, and gratitude to all of you as well. So thank you so very much. We exceeded our goal. I think we're at 883, something like that. So, and we were supposed to raise 750. So we are well above our goal. And we will be getting this action started closer towards I think it's the third week of September. So the third weekend in September, we're going to be doing the action on the ground here in Orlando. And it's going to be exciting. So I cannot wait to stream that and to show you guys, our actions here on the ground. Hopefully, and this is what I want to do, is I want to inspire more people to do actions on the ground so that we can actually make this country better. So thank you so very much to everybody, each and every one of you. And let's go. So I'm going to be going to the chat really quick just to say my hellos, my salutations, my how you doings. We're going to be going first to Pittsburgh Dude. Says these neo-Nazis in masks look a lot like feds. Interesting. We're actually going to be talking about it. Roger Meadows says, looking forward to Tuesday. Yes, I'm going to be having on an activist that actually is going to be talking about ending qualified immunity via ballot initiative. So that's going to be a really interesting conversation that I'm going to be having on Tuesday. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that, Roger. I can't wait to have it. All right. Also, Tony Bananas coming in saying, gang, gang. Yes, good to see you, Tony Bananas. All right. Smell the inside of your nose. Smell the inside of your nose. Says 10-1, and those Nazis are PSYOP cops. You might want to make that 5-1 or 2-1. Or no. The odds are very high that you're right. Just saying. Anyway, so all right. Trent M1122 says Jaybe, peace, and is that drinks? Drinks. All right. Beer. Drank. All right. Good to see all of you here today. Good to see you, Pittsburgh dudes. Sweary Fairy, the bestie of besties, coming in saying happy Sunday, beloveds. All right. Good to see all of you here in the chat today. So I have a couple stories that I'm going to be doing today. Story that's going to be really important to touch on first before we get into the primary story. But this is what we're covering today. Corporate water out of control. Corporate control of our water. Dear God, I can't even say what I actually wrote. Corporate control of water. What does this mean? Why is this an issue? And really, to be honest with you, what in the hell is going on in this country? That's going to be an interesting. That's going to be very interesting to talk about. It's going to be. It's concerning. You should be concerned. Also, neo-Nazis near Jaybe. What in the world? Have the uncensored thumbnail. I actually had the censored thumbnail for YouTube. So this is the censored one. But yes, neo-Nazis were not too far from me. So we're going to be talking about water. Why is water important? Why is it necessary? Because it keeps us alive. That's basically it. Now, why are we talking about corporate capture of our water? Does that scare you? It scares me. And it just increases my resolve to change this system. So I'm going to share with you guys. First, I'm going to share this tweet by More Perfect Union. They do great work when it comes to bringing attention to these things. And this is actually what caught my attention the first time. So let me enlarge this really quick. 1, 2, 3. And More Perfect Union says, this week, Biden's National Infrastructure Advisory Council recommended privatizing the country's water. Privatizing this vital resource that for-profit entities abuse whenever they can is a terrible and dangerous idea. Biden must reject this outright. Biden's National Infrastructure Advisory Council. Let's get into it. So, let's get into the article really quick. Just to share with you guys the details of what Biden plans to do. So this is out of Common Dreams. Common Dreams is actually a really good site also to get some of your news and information from. Common Dreams, World Socialist website, Black Agenda Report, The Gray Zone. These are sites that are great to get a lot of your news from. especially in regards to workers, in regards to policy, things like that. So it says Biden infrastructure report pushes disastrous water privatization schemes, watchdog says. The blurb says President Biden should have never appointed an investment banker to chair an advisory council for the nation's infrastructure. It starts off, it says, an under the radar report by the U.S. President Joe Biden's National Infrastructure Advisory Council should not go unnoticed, says the watchdog Food and Water Watch this Thursday. It says, as buried in the document is a call for the privatization of U.S. water systems, which progressive lawmakers and civil society groups have long opposed. On page 15 of the 38-page report, the advisory council said the federal government should remove, quote, remove barriers to privatization, concessions, and other non-traditional models of funding community water systems in conjunction with each state's development of best practice. Food and Water Watch suggested that the recommendation goes hand in hand with the panel chairmanship of Adebayo Ogunlesi, who is the chairman and CEO of Global Infrastructure Partners, GIP. GIP is an infrastructure investment bank with an estimated $100 billion in assets under management that targets energy, transportation, digital, and water infrastructure, making the takeover of public water and wastewater utilities by the private corporation, often under the guise of improving aging systems and lowering costs, financially beneficial for the bank. So really, it's just the banks are at it again. Guess who's back? Back again. The bank's back. Tell a friend. This is what's wrong with our society today, is the fact that the banks are now saying, well, we got the oil, we got the gold, we got the uranium, we got the manganese, we got the rubber, we got the cocoa, we got the timber. What else can we have? Water. Remember when Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, said that there will be wars over water? Something tells me that she was actually saying something under the radar. That's just it. Now our water is at risk. I mean, technically it already was. It's no surprise that there has been some privatization of water and local municipalities, but it's not as widespread as what they're trying to make it be now. Shall we continue? Quote, Mary Grant, Public Water for All campaign director at FWW, called the recommendation a terrible idea. Quote, President Biden should have never appointed an investment banker to chair the advisory council for the nation's infrastructure. Wall Street wants to take control of the nation's public water systems to wring profits from communities that are already struggling with unaffordable water bills and toxic water. This is the point. Because a lot of us, our water systems are municipally owned. But now they're saying, you know what? We want it all to be privatized. Because that's money that they're just itching to get. They just want that water. They want that sweet, sweet cash. That's one of the resources that they do not have full control over. If they could, they would own the fucking ocean. And they're working towards it. The thing that you need, that you cannot survive more than 3 days without, they also want to put that paywall up so that you have to pay through the nose just to live. They already got your food. They already got your housing. I mean, we already technically pay for water, but that's really just through, a lot of us is through municipal systems. But this is going to exponentially raise your bills regarding utilities, in particular water. And whose administration is trying to do this? Oh, we have to make sure that we vote for Biden, or else we'll get Trump back. Oh my God. Oh gosh. It continues, says, FWW has analyzed water privatization schemes for years, finding that they often leave communities with higher water bills, worse service, job losses, and little control to fix these problems. Now, I'm not going to read this entire article, but I do want to get this part right here. That this bill that they're trying to pass in order to prevent this says, instead of relying on Wall Street investors, President Biden should support policies that would truly help communities by asking Congress to pass the Water Affordability, Transparency, Equity, and Reliability Act, or the Water Act. So this is H.R. 1729 and S. Bill 938. Introduced in 2021 by Representatives Ro Khanna and Brenda Lawrence in the U.S. House and Senator Bernie Sanders in the Senate, the Water Act would expand funding to small, rural, and indigenous communities, create a water trust fund, fund projects to eliminate and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, contamination, and require the Environmental Protection Agency to analyze water affordability, shutoffs, and civil rights violations by water utilities, among other steps to improve water access. Now, this is something that I just wanted to add, that there are bills that are in the works. But will these bills pass? Will these bills be signed into law? That remains to be seen. But this is what's going on right now within the United States. Now, why is privatization of a vital need so bad? Go ahead, put in the comments. Why is privatization of a vital need bad? First of all, what is the first and primary motive? Profit, right? If profit is the primary motive, then what are some things that can fall by the wayside in a capitalist system? The profit motive encourages infinite growth with finite resources. So what can happen? Things such as safety measures that will be either curtailed or cut. So therefore, the safety of our water is at risk. Prices can and will rise beyond what we can afford. And we're already having a hard time affording it now. Infrastructure being neglected because they do not want to take that money away from the profits and reinvest into the infrastructure. And so those are just some of the issues that are present with privatization of the water system. because the people who would be at the head of these privatized water companies would have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, to the people at the top, not to the people who the service provides. At best, the service would be the second most important responsibility, not the primary. Whereas if it's owned collectively, either municipally or statewide or community, on a community basis, then that means that the fiduciary responsibility of that municipality, that city, that county, is to its citizens and to make sure that the water is clean and safe. The corporate dictators, do not have that in mind. Their priority is for the money, 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 money. That's what it is. And so this is why privatization is always a bad idea. Look at our healthcare system. Look what privatization has done there. Look at our education system. What has privatization done there? Military industrial complex. Need I say more? So there is a video that I want to share with you guys, because this actually shows what could happen if we allow something like this to happen. If Joe Biden decides to go along with this recommendation, which means that these companies can also, are probably most likely in the pockets of these politicians, so they would be game for allowing this to pass. This is a future that we will have to see. Now, this video is entitled "Water Privatization is a Con," and it's going to explain why and what is the result, because it's already happened in a Western country. And you guys will find out right now.
This is a story about the pollution of our rivers and beaches and billions of pounds of wasted money. Welcome to the headquarters of Thames Water, Britain's biggest water company. Like most of England's water companies, it was privatised by the Conservatives in 1989. At the time, the Tories wrote off the company's debts for the new private owners and handed the bill to us, the taxpayer.
The water privatisation, I believe, will go very successfully indeed. That will go very successfully indeed.
So, who owns?
Oh, it will go very successful indeed, successfully killing thousands and thousands of poor people. Oh my goodness, isn't it wonderful? Yes! Oh yes, the sound of screaming children. Oh, it just brings me to light. Oh. Look, of course, Ronald Reagan's drag queen is absolutely wrong about this. Successful for the people of the UK? No, especially Britain. But successful for the businesses? I think that's what she was really saying. She wasn't really talking about the people. She was talking about the businesses. She was talking about the billionaires. She was talking about the multimillionaires, the people at the top. And then on top of it, what did they say? Let's go back just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Water companies, it was privatised by the Conservatives in 1989. At the time, the Tories wrote off the company's debts for the new private owners and handed the bill to us, the tax.
So they actually paid off the debts on the backs of taxpayers, on the backs of federal dollars that really should have been used instead on the people. But it wasn't. This is what we look forward to if something like this happens here in this country. You see, here's the funny thing. They have a national healthcare system, which the conservatives are trying to privatize. And to be honest with you, the liberals are not doing much to stop it anyway. And then here we have a lot of municipally owned water systems, which they are trying to privatize here. And you see what's going on over there regarding the healthcare system, which we want to have. And they're seeing over here that we have a lot of municipally owned water systems, which they would like to have over there. But the problem that we both have is privatization. Is that these money-hungry, snot-nosed trolls are trying to take over the vital systems that we need to live. And it gets worse. But wait, there's more. Let's continue.
Taxpayer.
A water privatization, I believe, will go very successfully indeed. That will go very successfully indeed.
So, who owns our water? Well, there's the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund that owns a stake in Thames Water, and Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing's CK Infrastructure Holdings, which has a majority stake in Northumbrian Water. 7 Australian companies own at least 11% of English Water, while US companies are the biggest owners, controlling at least 17%.
Did you guys know? Did you know? US companies own some of the water systems in the UK? So, of course, they see the UK and they're like, wow, we're making great money off this. Let's do it in our own country. And so they have a buddy in the White House. They have somebody that's sympathetic to them in the White House that they can just pour their money into and say, hey, how about we privatize it? It'll be better for the American people. Competition, right? Let me ask you something. Cable TV and internet service providers, how many choices do you have? I'll wait. That being the case, how can you have competition when they're the only game in town? You see, that's the problem with privatization, is that they're a monopoly. The difference between monopoly and government-owned is, yes, each side is only one entity running that industry. Yes. But one side, monopoly side, which is produced by capitalism, it has its primary focus on profit. Whereas a government-owned side, whether it's city, county, state, or federal, is operating just at cost, paid for through taxation, and the responsibility is to make sure that the service is provided as effectively as possible to the people. Now, people say, well, oh my God, The government does terrible jobs with, let's say, the VA. They'll do terrible jobs with, say, Social Security. They'll do terrible jobs, say, Medicare, things like that. They'll say that, right? But you have to go into your mindset with who's running the government. It's not us. So then when you see these systems failing, it's always because of the death of 1,000 cuts. Because the corporations are basically have their hand and they're puppeting the government. They took their hand, put it up the government's ass, and they're moving their mouth like a puppet. That's exactly what's going on. This is why a dictatorship of the proletariat or the dictatorship of the workers is so important. Because when we run shit, then these governmental systems will not fail. When we run this, then there will not be any money in politics. Because we want these systems to operate for us, for the betterment of us, not profits. So that's the difference between monopoly in capitalism versus having an essential service like water, healthcare, education, food. This is why it is important to have it ran by the people. Let's continue.
In the 34 years after privatization, the mostly international investors who own England's 17 privatized water companies pocketed more than £57 billion in dividends.
£57 billion. That's what? $55 billion, something like that. I think the pound is diminished in value since, so it's close to being equal to $1. But yeah.
But how did they afford to pay themselves so much? Well, for a start, they borrowed a lot of cash. The water company's debts rose from zero in 1989 to £60 billion today. Meanwhile, they chronically underinvested in sewage infrastructure, with the result.
Okay, I want you guys to listen closely to this. This is a very important point. This is why privatization is going to be the death of us. Pay attention.
Sewage infrastructure, with the result that our rivers and beaches are polluted. Just one example. In 2021, Thames Water was fined for discharging 500,000 litres of raw sewage into 2 streams in Oxford. The sewage poured into the water for 30 hours and spread for 2 miles through a pub garden and past community allotments. 3,000 fish died, including perch, chub, roach, gudgeon and bullheads, some of them up to 9 years old.
This is why privatization doesn't work. Because they will overlook the safety of the water systems. They will neglect keeping up the infrastructure for the sake of profit. And then when these infrastructures and safety systems fail, then who will be the one that will be... I'm not trying to make a joke out of this, but up a shit creek without a paddle. Who is going to be the one that's going to suffer? It's going to be us. You, me, your kids. I want you guys to think deeply how much you use water in a day. Think about how often you use water in your homes today. The moment you get up, what do? Like for me, I have a sip of water because, well, you're supposed to have about, it's healthy for you to have a drink of water, a glass of water within the first 30 minutes of waking up. But I have water, right? I keep it next to me in my bed, right? I reuse this bottle. You guys have seen me drink out of this bottle all the time. I reuse this bottle. I've been reusing this bottle for what? 8-9 months now. So I just refill with water. And so I drink water, then go to the bathroom, which includes using water to flush your toilet and using water to wash your hands. When I go take a shower, I have to use water. Then I have to go into the kitchen. And if my family does not clean the dishes or place the like a spoon back, cleans it and place the spoon back, then I guess I have to wash it. But what do I wash it with? I have to wash it with water. You don't know how much you need water until it's shut off. Trust me, I know. I've been poor my entire life. We've had our water shut off. We've even had it shut off, not even for reasons that we couldn't afford it. It's just something happened and they're working on the pipes or something like that. You realize how much you need water. You need it throughout the day for different things. And so water literally is life. And they're trying to paywall life. And then they're not even going to take care of that life-sustaining substance. They're going to just focus on profit. And when it becomes contaminated with raw sewage, what's going to happen? You're going to get sick. You're not going to have healthcare to actually take care of yourself. Or you're going to be paying through the nose just to take care of yourself because you or your kids or your pets get raw sewage. Imagine showering in contaminated water. You know, your skin absorbs that too, right? That's what they're doing. This is why privatization is a bad idea.
Robert Davis from the Environment Agency witnessed the scene. He said it was quite horrific. Sewage pollution was bank to bank and there was a foul stench of raw sewage. When we traced the source, we found a waterfall of raw sewage discharging via a pipe into the streams. Amongst the dead fish, fisheries officers observed hundreds more on the surface, suffering and gasping for oxygen. In 2022, there were over 389,000 discharges of untreated sewage into UK rivers.
That's all.
The UK is consistently ranked as one of the worst countries in Europe for water quality. Last year, the water companies lost 3 billion litres of water a day.
I just want to go back to a point. I want to hone in on this point right here.
Last year, the water companies lost 3 billion litres of water a day. And the same companies are now asking for a 40%.
Oh, hang on.
The UK is consistently ranked as one of the worst countries in Europe for water quality.
That part. The UK has some of the worst water quality in Europe. Capitalism breeds innovation. If it breeded innovation, then UK water would actually be the best in Europe. If it breeded innovation. But it doesn't breed innovation, because if it did, then they wouldn't have to worry about the cleanliness and the quality of their water in the UK. But they do. Because the privatization and the greed, that's why. This is what we stand to see in the United States if this happens. This is why this is such an important issue. Water is extremely important. This is your life at stake here. And this has gone unreported. I'm not seeing this on mainstream media. This is your life at stake, bruh. Capitalism, it does nothing but stifle innovation for the sake of profit. And people want to sit here and go, well, no, because you have a cell phone, you have an iPhone in your hand. That's capitalism. No, dipshit, that's not capitalism. That's public universities doing research and innovation. And then companies take it and then they privatize it and they use it to make more profit. That's all it is. These systems are created publicly with public money. And then these companies will take the idea, patent it, and make sure nobody else can use it. And then they will privatize it and make money off of it. Make money off of a public idea. And then we get shafted because they neglected us, because they are taking control of a vital service that keeps us alive. And then what happens? We die. We suffer. Our bills go up. All because they decided they wanted more money. Hell no. Hell to the fuck no. No. We're not going to be like the UK and have our water like this. Absolutely not. Because it is asinine. It is crazy to think that if they can't keep their water systems up and it's privatized, what the fuck makes you think they're going to be able to do it here? It don't make no goddamn sense. Like, holy shit, are you kidding me right now? But this is the type of person that Biden is. This is the type of people he puts in his office. And don't come at me with, oh, well, Trump would do something different. No, the fuck he wouldn't. Trump would do the exact same thing. Why? Because he's in it with the other billionaires. And don't come for me in the comments. Because Trump is a billionaire, he's going to look out for his buddies. Look at the Trump tax cuts. And who is keeping the Trump tax cuts? Joe Biden. They're basically one and the same. And then you got black people out here going, oh, well, I'm going to vote for Trump. Man, get the fuck out of the plantation. Liberals and conservatives, get out of the plantation. They're both horrible. You're fooling yourself. Now you have one orange dipshit and one dipshit that doesn't know what the fuck he is trying to say, oh, well, we should just privatize everything because privatizing everything makes everything better. If it privatized made everything better, then this country would be better. Yet, it's not. You're suffering. Why the hell did you click on this video? Why the hell did you click on it? Because you realize that you're suffering and you're done with this shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on a rant, but this just, as somebody that is immunocompromised and disabled, I'm already suffering financially. By the time today's the 3rd. Okay, by the time my rent comes out today, my account's going to be zero. Zero. Because my rent, number one, my rent's too goddamn high. Number two, my utility company is actually municipally owned, and we're still suffering. So imagine if it gets privatized. Imagine how much more we would have to pay, because I actually have to pay for water too. It's not just electricity, I pay for water. And then on top of that, for them to not keep the systems in place and then I get sick even more. I've already almost went into septic shock back in 2019, almost died. So what? You're gonna put me at risk for E. coli, staph, and other infections as well, just through my drinking water? Even if you get filtered water, like for instance, we have a water cooler because we still don't trust the water to drink. If they privatize it and something happens, I still got to take a shower in that shit. I still have to wash my hands. I still have to wash my dishes. I still have to wash my clothes. And libertarians are like, well, we just need to privatize everything. See how that goes. Y'all good on war, but when it comes to other stuff.
Last year, the water companies lost 3 billion litres of water a day. And the same companies are now asking for a 40% hike in bills.
This is what I was saying. How are you doing on importing food right now? Has the price of eggs went down that much? How about meat? Is the price of chicken still? Has the price of chicken went down? What about beef? What about pork? What about fish? What about the price of milk? What about it? We're still struggling just to feed ourselves. And now you mean to tell me that our water bills can also go up to 40% higher on our water? That's what privatization does. Because when it's municipally owned, the only prices that you pay are for operations costs, maintenance, and then they probably put away some just for emergencies, but that's it. That's all you pay for. When it's privatized, then they actually have to raise it in order to get profit. Because ultimately, municipalities just need to break even. They don't need to make more money. They just need to have money stocked away for emergencies as well as pay for operations. That's it. They don't need profit. Private companies do. So when private companies need profit, that means that the prices of everything goes up. We got to think about this, y'all. Let's continue.
And which is the leakiest company? Thames Water, of course. Now, Thames Water is teetering on the brink of collapse, but who'll be on the hook if the company goes under? Will it be those international investors who racked up the debt while taking billions in dividends and piping sewage into our waterways? Or will it be us, the UK taxpayer? Over to you, Prime Minister.
And that's the point. Now, I was thinking about the water system that comes to my house. And if any of you live in the Orlando or Central Florida area, you guys know about OUC, or Orlando Utilities Commission. So I was just like, let me take a look. Because the thing is, I never really actually researched my water company. Orlando Utilities Commission says the Orlando Utilities Commission, OUC, the reliable one, is a municipally owned public utility providing electric and water services to the citizens of Orlando, Florida, St. Cloud, Florida, and unincorporated Orange and Osceola counties. Established in 1923, so yes, it is its 100th year, by a special act of Florida legislator, OUC is the second largest municipal utility in Florida and the 14th largest municipal in the country. OUC provides electric, water, chilled water, and or lighting services to 400,000 accounts. The company is governed by a 5-member commission, including the mayor of Orlando. And our mayor of Orlando right now is Buddy Dyer, which is responsible for all operating policies. OUC has maintained the best electric reliability in the state for 21 years in a row when compared to Florida's investor-owned utilities. Our power is produced by OUC-owned Stanton Energy Center via a diverse fuel portfolio, which includes nearly 20 megawatts of solar energy. And our clean, safe, great-tasting water, that's debatable, which is pumped from lower Floridan aquifer, undergoes more than 20,000 chemical and bacteriological water quality tests each year, including tests for more than 135 regulated and unregulated substances like lead and copper. So basically, that's what it is, and it is a government agency. But if it was privatized, then it would no longer be a government agency. That 1,000 to 5,000 employees would get cut, which means service and quality would diminish. So that's the problem. Our systems would fall by the wayside. So this is one of the reasons why this is a bad idea. Because if it can happen in a Western nation like the UK, it can happen here. And guaranteed it will happen here. This is why I think that the private equity and things like that should not be permitted by law to own anything that provides an essential service to sustain or give life. They should not be able to have any type of ownership of it. This includes healthcare. Private equity should be banned from food companies. Private equity should be banned when it comes to, when I say healthcare, I mean not just hospitals. I'm also talking about medical device manufacturers. I'm talking about nursing homes. I'm talking about clinics, pharmaceuticals. Yeah, no private equity. No private equity when it comes to housing. They should be banned from housing as well. Private equity should also be banned from utilities, including internet service providers. And we should nationalize or municipalize or stationalize our internet service providers. So when it comes to the privatization, which was actually a word that was coined in Nazi Germany, that's a preview. This is why it's a bad idea. Anything connected really to Nazis is just a bad idea. So that's the news for your water. This is why changing the system is so important. Kurt Boss says, once they privatize it, it becomes criminal neglect. Yeah. V.S. Adams, yes, this is also a fact. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. Absolutely. KC says, lost to their fountains and golf courses. Absolutely. Mr. Meepzor says, dude, a large fries at Wendy's is almost $5 and they don't even fill it up all the way. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they don't even fill the fries up anymore. They skimp on the fries. Oh my God. Truth Futurist says, polluted air? Nestle introduces new clean bottled air. Hey, remember, speaking of which, remember Spaceballs? Where they actually had canned air because they were losing all their clean air. And so he literally had to crack it open a can of air to breathe in fresh air. That's what we're going towards, man. That's the dystopian future that we're going towards right now. We need a revolution. Cold Commander says the price of bullets went up, so I'm going to have to use rope and knives. I'm not going to finish reading it. Cobra, behave yourself in the chat. Spider says, time to go vegan. Save some of the animals, saves the environment, saves yourself some money. It may save you some money relatively, but we don't actually change this system through individual changes. Individual changes are a drop in the bucket. The thing is that it needs to be a systemic change from the bottom up. A lot of times people will go, well, just reduce, reuse, recycle. Start instead of driving your car, ride your bike. While some of these things are good for us, but just doing it on an individual level does not help. And then these corporations will actually blame the individual instead of the actual problem on the corporations and the system in place. And instead of changing it, they'll just blame us and say, well, it's your fault that climate change is still here. When in reality, most of the climate change is actually happening is due from the corporations as well as the military. They contribute to the majority of the pollution, especially here in the United States. There are other countries that are curbing it as well. But here in the United States, they tell us, oh, it's an individual problem that requires an individual solution. No, it's not. It's a systemic problem that requires a systemic solution. Now, while I say for some people, going vegan is also, an option for them, it's not an option for everybody else. Number one, it's not an option for some people because, when it comes to their culture, like for instance, some indigenous cultures, that's part of their culture. And then on top of it, it's just an individual thing that really we need to deindustrialize our food system. By the deindustrialization, it needs a bottom-up revolution in order to change it. So, and plus, there's no ethical consumption in capitalism because the prices of food, vegetables, and grains are also on the rise too. Mr. Meepzor says the mail service doesn't need to profit. It needs to deliver our mail with the taxes we budget for that service. And I say the same thing for water. You're funny. Good points, though. Z Manny says Greens are the only non-corporate national party. Mm-hmm. I voted Green 2020. Yes, Furry Fairy says, don't forget private jets. Absolutely. You guys are funny. This will be the last one, Cobra Commander. I got you. Don't read it in my comments today. Yeah, because the next thing I'm going to get into is going to be, yeah. But be careful, Cobra Commander, for going ham in the comments because I don't want you to get cut off by YouTube. All right, so be careful. Choose your words choose your words wisely for the next subject. Okay. I mean, I'm going to go ham, but I'm going to go ham as far as the YouTube guidelines. See what I mean? All right. So let me go to Rockfin first. And let's go to this really quick. And then after Rockfin, I'll do a little bit of house cleaning. And then we can get to the primary story. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh, I'm going to be clowning on these people like crazy. Oh my gosh. I wish CJ, Nick, and Rome with me right now. And Savvy. Oh my God. If y'all watching, please feel free to come on. But thank you for the tip, Roger. Oh, Roger, I knew you were going to bring it up. Roger says this is where public bank can step in to finance infrastructure projects while keeping it under the control of the public ownership and out of the control of private equity shareholder ownership, while building a surplus in the economy without having to raise existing taxes or create new taxes. Yes, privately owned is beholden to the shareholders. Publicly owned is beholden to the stakeholders run by citizen ballot initiatives to get public banks. This is true. This is why I spoke to Alfeka Matardi of the National Infrastructure Banking Coalition, as well as I spoke to Nelson Betancourt, who also is trying to pass a public banking ballot initiative for Orange County here in Florida. And so I had them both at different times on my channel. So if you guys would like to see that, you guys can actually go to my channel and see those interviews. Thank you very much for that, Roger. Roger continues, says, for nearly a decade, the state of Arizona has leased its rural terrain west of Phoenix to a Saudi-owned company, allowing it to pump all the water it needs to grow the alfalfa hay, a crop it exports to feed the kingdom's dairy cows. And for years, the state did not know how much water the company was consuming. Yes. And that, yep. And this is the Washington Post article. This is how the Saudi firm tapped a gusher of water in drought-stricken Arizona. That water really should be for the people first, not for the Saudis. But I digress. And I'll make sure to share that in the chat, Roger. Thank you so much for that. He says, work your anti-paywall magic, Jaybe. I grew up in Freeport, Long Island, one of the two municipalities on Long Island, and one of 50 in the entire state with municipalized water. We had cheaper prices than the rest of Long Island. It was reliable. The rest of Long Island will be municipalizing Long Island Power Authority by 2025. No more corporate government partnership. That's good. The people's bills are actually going to go down. Let's see. Gene Whitworth says, actually, feudalism can be considered rather extreme form of privatization. Don't think I want to trust anyone that names themselves Spider. I didn't read that, pre-read that beforehand. But thank you, Gene. Roger continues, says, broadband infrastructure should remain the public domain with universal access. Private ISPs should offer services beyond access, administration, management, maintenance, filtering, upgrading, mitigation, new installs, repair, filtering, and cybersecurity. Also, fresh air in a can is what? Fresh air in a can is here. I saw it at a local pharmacy, and you know what? I'm gonna go get me some of that air too. What? No. Like, I've seen canned air like that you use to like clean your computers, but that's the only type of canned air I've ever seen. It's just pressurized to clean, the air in the computers. We ain't got no canned air out there, Roger. No way. Are we that deep into this dystopian nightmare? We gotten deeper faster than I thought. Ooh, ugh. We need these guillotines now, baby. Sharpen them up. Mary Beck says, when you have one company like BlackRock and Vanguard buying 15% of 88% of all companies in the United States, capitalism will not work anymore. Yup. Thank you so very much for that as well. So, did you guys like the stream? Go ahead and give a like for the algorithm, as well as if you guys would like to, then you guys can also go to our Patreon. You guys can go to patreon.com/revolutionary blackout. And if you guys have not, then we are also raising money for our graphics designer, Aaron. You guys can go to Venmo at Revolutionary Blackout or Cash App $mutual aid forever as well. Now, the primary story. Neo-Nazis near me. I'm wearing red because I'm a communist. And we want to keep this color for ourselves. Because some of them came out wearing red and being Nazis. Their colors aren't red. Their colors are brown. Like shit. And they should keep it that way. So, I'm in Orlando, as you all know. And after the shooting in Jacksonville, these shit waffles decided to descend upon Orlando to do their little parade. I told you I'm going to go ham on them. Oh, by the way, just as a viewer discretion, I'm going to let you guys know there will be insults. There's going to be insults. I'm going to be calling these people out of their names. As a communist, I have no respect for anybody who goes into this type of ideology that wants to eliminate people like me. This is an ideology that wants to exterminate me. Y'all know I'm black, disabled, and gay, and a communist. What? I'm one of the people that they hate the most. So, of course, expect me to call them outside of their names. Because they not only want to eliminate me, but they want to eliminate a lot of you. So just letting you guys know. So I'm going to share this first video. And shout out to News to Share and Ford Fisher. They were out in Altamont Springs, which is north of Orlando, yesterday. This all happened yesterday, by the way. So you guys can see exactly what was going on. Now, I saw the whole raw footage on Twitter. I ain't calling it X. It's still Twitter. And so I saw it. And so this is more condensed. Shout out to Ford Fisher for this. The link to his page is also in the chat. I'm sorry, in the description, as well as the link to these videos, so you guys can actually watch it. Just to let you guys know, the caption here says primary source documentary footage for news, historical, and educational purposes only. News shared does not condone views recorded. So, just letting you guys know that News to Share is just sharing this raw footage as documentation. All right. So, let's share. Dear God. Anywho, let's go. So
Go for fishy. There he is, the fat one.
So this is the Nazi group called Blood Tribe. So they are a neo-Nazi group. This was not the only neo-Nazi group that was in Orlando, by the way. There was a second neo-Nazi group as well in Orlando. One was in Altamont Springs, which is a Blood Tribe. And then you had the Order of the Black Sun that was out in front of Disney World for obvious reasons. So there were two neo-Nazi groups, two factions of neo-Nazi groups that descended upon Orlando over the weekend. So this is the first one that I'm showing you. This next one I will show you as well. Now, there are some things that they're going to be saying that is going to be like, wait, what? You're going to go, what did he just say? Trust and believe there are going to be some parts that you're going to be curious about. There's going to be some parts you're actually going to laugh your ass off about because they are cartoonishly stupid. But let's continue.
Cheers, that baby, fucking pedo!
We just have to start a fire. We have to just start a fire.
How do you do that?
We're the kindling. And once we set the fire, we get the fire hot, then we get the rest of our brothers blazing.
And how do you do that?
Be the vanguard. Stick up for ourselves.
You know,
Being a vanguard? Being a vanguard. That sounds... Let's continue. I want you guys to listen to the language that they use. This is very important now. Listen to the language. Listen to the phrases that he uses. Keep your eye out for this. This is important. This is why we have to know who our enemies are.
Stand up. Don't be afraid. Show no fear.
What are you doing now, Christopher? Right today, what are you going now and what are you going to do? What will I achieve?
We're doing what you see. We're gathering together.
Good to see you again.
Protecting our boys.
You must be the juniors in Wisconsin.
Right?
No comment.
You earned your colors, I see.
How's it going?
Why are you guys marching
Are you
today?
worried about white power?
Are you worried? Are you afraid?
No,
How could you be so brave? How could you be so brave? Are you scared? The feds will come. Oh my God, we're coming for you. We're getting the pitchforks. We're coming for you.
What? I believe that was staged. Set up our
It's the same language. You hear it? It's the same language. Time and time again. How could you be so...
Free speech, public sidewalk. I study law. Free speech. Traditional public forum.
I'm just asking because we've seen
White power! Your country's getting turned to shit. The UK looks like garbage. 40% of London's white now. What the fuck?
So, Cue Ball just said that 40% of the country is white. That, first of all, that's not true. The country is roughly about 60% white still. So the country is still majority white. This male warrior basically is fear-mongering about the country becoming less white. I hate to break it. No, I don't hate to break it to you. I actually love to break it to you. Most of the people on the planet are not white. You were never the majority. Y'all were never the majority. Most of the people on the planet are black and brown. Oh my God. Who let Megamind out of his cave? Oh my God. Forehead so big, I'm afraid he's going to read my mind. All right, let's continue. I told you I'm a clown on these dipshits. Let's go.
Stick up for yourself. Stick up for yourself.
The only place that this multicultural crap is happening is white countries.
Bullshit. Bullshit. All right. Dude with the shades on trying to look like a Cyclops from the X-Men when he's not in battle. He is like, oh, well, the only country that has multicultural is white countries. No, because guess what? What happened in South Africa? What was it called? Apartheid? Why were we having apartheid? Oh, was it because it was being ruled and taken over by white people? Don't white people live in African countries? Oh, yeah. And other races too. Don't white people also live in places like Japan, China, Philippines? Don't white people live in places like India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan? Don't they live? Wait, don't they live there too? There's an African population there's literally an African population in China. By 2020, there were an estimated 500,000 Africans living in China, with the majority living in Guangzhou. So these countries like India and China are not as homogenous as you think. But this is what happens when you don't educate yourself. This is what happens when you follow demagogues and you follow the people who are at the top who want to blame everything on people that are marginalized that have no power. You blindly follow and say stupid shit. All right. Let's continue.
It's not happening anywhere.
Why?
Why is that? Why is it not happening in India, China? Why just white countries?
They have ethnic.
Like I said, it's not happening in just white countries. People move around and people go different places. God, 75% of Puerto Rico is white. I bet you didn't know that. And some of them are white Puerto Ricans. 75% of Puerto Rico is white. The fuck? These guys don't educate themselves. Look. Hold on. Let me enlarge. Look. Google is free, you know. It's free. Anyway. Golly.
Citizenship laws.
How's it feel to be
Why can't we? Fuck, that's called equality.
Do white people?
I'm so sweaty this time.
So I'm gonna come back here for a second, but there's some things that dude in the leather vest was saying that should be causes of concern when it comes to many of us. So I'm going to play this, but listen to what he says and how he says it.
Stick up for your fucking self.
So what does that mean? Does that mean violence?
No, it doesn't mean violence.
What we're doing now, isn't it?
All of our goals can be achieved non-violent.
Oh God. These are wait. You're the non-violent Nazis. These are the non-violent. Wait, Christopher, non-violent fast. Exactly. Like what the fuck? What? These guys are like, oh, we're non-violent. What? Dipshit said what? Oh my God. Oh my God. This is crazy. He's like, oh, we're not violent. Bullshit. All right. I don't know if I can get through this. All right, let's continue.
Achieve nonviolence. The most violence is on your side. Subjugation of our race.
Subjugation? Okay, hang on. Quiz time. Are white people subjugated? Are white people subjugated? Hang on. Do. Look, I know it's a serious subject, but they deserve to be clowned on, bro. They deserve to be clowned on. That's why I'm laughing, because they deserve it. They have no idea. I'm going to tell you this. Hang on. I'm going to tell you this. If these dudes had to live the way people like that look like me live through, they would have harmed themselves out of existence a long time ago. I am using my words very carefully. They don't have the guts to go through what we went through. By the way, how much of you are willing to bet that half of those dudes that are standing there, half of those cornstarch warriors that are standing there are willing, half of them, their ancestors, their family came to this country back in the early 1900s. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet their ancestors came here in the early 1900s from Ellis Island? Meanwhile, my ancestors were here for over 300 years. So their ancestors were here for about 100. Them and their ancestors. My ancestors came here involuntarily, by force, and we've been here for over 300 to 400 years. Look, my 5th great-grandfather was born in 1792. 1792. Just a good less than 20 years after this country actually became a country. My ancestors. So who has more of a claim to this country? Oh. Maybe they should go back to Europe. But even then, I still don't have as much of a claim to the country as my indigenous brothers and sisters. Shout out to Delilah. My indigenous sister. She has more of a claim to this country than I do. Because their ancestors have been here for thousands of years. And yet these guys are like, oh, we want this country for ourselves. Motherfucker, please. It was never yours to begin with. Trying to claim shit. All right, so keep listening. He's going to say some crazy shit.
That's what we stand against. The reason that you presuppose that there would be violence is because you are ready to use violence to stop us.
No, we not, because you guys were committing violence against people back in the 1930s and the 1940s, because that's your ideology. You want to exterminate people that looks like me. That's what it is. It's not peaceful, non-violent. See, they're trying to sanitize their history. I'm not going to sanitize the communist history because guess what? The communists actually kicked the shit out of the Nazis. And now they're butthurt because they got defeated almost 100 years ago because their ideology is dog shit and they are the minority in the world. And the world said, hell no, fuck that. We're not dealing with this shit. And so now they're sitting there, got their whitey tighties in a bunch because they can't have the white country to themselves, even though, guess what? If y'all really want to have a white country, then, I don't know, France, Belgium, Iceland, whatever the fuck you guys want to go. But even then, those countries don't want that either. They want an all-white ethno-state on a planet where the majority of people are non-white. And I'm going to get to the point in a second, but just, anyway.
When you say you
and all of the people on that side of the fence, white subjugators, you work for that team. Kites, jewelry, capitalism.
What'd he say? Wait a minute. Yo, hang on. Wait, listen to that again.
Capitalism, billionaires.
He said capitalism, billionaires?
Billionaires. Kites, jewelry, capitalism, billionaires. That's your side.
See what I said? That's when this takes a shift. And you're like, wait, what? Because Nazis were pro-capitalist. What is this guy saying? And this is the dangerous part. Because everybody and their mama now knows that capitalism doesn't work. But they're using revolutionary terminology, and this is the serious part, in order to recruit white people to think that their lives would be better if they just created a white ethno-state. They're using revolutionary language in order to do it. And that's the dangerous part. And this is why we need to be careful of who we listen to. Because there will be some people that will say, oh yeah, I'm a communist, or I'm a socialist, or I'm an anarchist. And yet when it comes to actual social issues, without using dialectical materialism and intersectionality, they can go from being on the side of the working class multiculturally to being on the exclusively white working class that wants to get rid of everybody else. That's the dangerous part. And that's what we need to be cognizant of. So, let's continue.
I know you're tired. You still have a job.
Christopher, there's a threat war. What do you think is going to happen?
My vote is useless. I think Biden's better than Trump because he sends rockets to Ukraine.
He said he thinks Biden is better than Trump because Biden is sending rockets to Ukraine. I want all the NAFO trolls to hear this right now. You guys actually agree with Nazis. The Nazis agree with NAFOs. Yup. Any words from the NAFOs? Any word from them? The Nazis agree with you.
in
support of Ukraine, you mean?
Hell Ukraine, hell AIDS.
Tell me this, Christopher. You are, a sizable gathering, but fairly small. How big does this need to become, and how big do you see it becoming? Paint a picture of this movement.
We just have to start a fire. We have to just start a fire.
How do you do that?
We're the kindling. And once we set the fire, we get the fire hot, then we get the rest of our brothers blazing.
And how do you do that?
Be the vanguard. Stick up for ourselves.
So that's basically where the other video was at. So now they're saying, well, no, we actually like Biden because he's giving money to the Azov battalion. We actually like that he's doing that. And who has been saying that Biden's been giving funding in Ukraine to Nazis? Who's been saying it this entire time? Oh, RBN, Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore, Danny Haiphong, Black Agenda Report, Any News Network, Do Dissidents, Heartlands Media. We've been saying this. We've been saying this the entire time. And who confirms it? Nazis. They're like, yeah, they like the fact that Biden's giving money to Nazis. How much more confirmation do you need? Gray Zone, yes, thank you for helping me out. That's the thing. People just, they're like, oh, no, we got to give money to Ukraine to stop Putin. We got to stop Putin. Dear God. All right, so there's more. All right. All right, so let me go back to the tube. These guys. See, this is why we got to be very careful. Okay. So let's go to what this guy says.
Indians deserve their own homeland. Chinese deserve their own homeland. Africans their own homeland. There's nothing racist about that.
If he actually thinks that, then let me ask this question. When will the United States, Portugal, France, and other European countries get out of Africa? They literally had to have coups in Africa in places like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Gabon to kick France out. If you actually feel this way, then where is the support for getting these imperialist and colonialist countries out of Africa? I would like to note for the record that Twinkle Toes over here, his life would not be as good as it was if not for the imperialism and extraction of resources from Africa. His life would not be as good without the labor from my ancestors. His life would not be as good if they didn't steal this land from the indigenous people. But they missed that point. They failed that subject in elementary school.
I saw the NSF went over to Disney World. It seemed like they didn't join. Is there separation among the
I can't speak on them, but they do good work. We're trying to wake up white people.
Anyway.
Yeah. So when you look at who showed up,
Oh my God, Laura Schumer! And they start calling the lady the F word, and not F-U-C-K. It's a different F word. I'm gonna skip that part.
Jewish people can have an ethno state. White people deserve an ethno state. Simple as.
Now, Israel is, by all intents and purposes, an ethno state. That's the part that he's actually correct about. But the thing is that is Palestine. And it was stolen from the Palestinians. And even a lot of Orthodox Jews agree that no, the state of Israel should not exist in that region. Because they're literally doing what his people did to the indigenous people in this country. Here's my question. If you believe that you should be on your land and nobody else be there, then why in the hell are you on indigenous land trying to claim it as your own? That doesn't make sense. He's contradicting himself.
What's that?
Where do you want the Jews to go?
Anywhere but away from us.
Yeah.
Basically,
In America?
they need to go to Israel and leave us alone. White America, this is white America before the Hart-Celler Act in 1965. America was 90% white, and after the Hart-Celler Act, now we're about 57% white and shrinking because the Jews have opened up our borders, allowed all these non-whites to flood our white country and stuff, and we're sick of it. This is our country. The founding fathers were white. The naturalization said for free white man, okay? This is our country. We're not going anywhere. If anyone needs to pack up, it's everyone who's not white needs to pack up, get the fuck out.
What groups are in your coalition? I see GDL. It's obviously.
Now, in the raw footage, somebody asked him about indigenous and Native Americans. And he tried to wave it away saying, oh, well, white people were here first before them, which is complete and utter bullshit. You can just ask any archaeologist anywhere that will say, well, no, white people have existed primarily in Europe for thousands of years before ever coming to this side of the world. Because if white people actually existed in Europe and came here and existed here, then they would have stayed. And there would have been no need for somebody like Columbus to travel from Italy over to the New World. It wouldn't be a new world if white people had existed here, but they didn't. So therefore, for somebody like him to say, oh, well, it started off white, that's complete and utter bullshit. That is a lie. And so here's the thing I also want to say, because the rest of this video is just them marching and chanting and the suburbs. Just let me show you. I'm gonna turn the sound off, so you guys can see. These motherfuckers went to the suburbs. I'm telling you right now, Cranes Rouge Park and Altamont Springs is the suburbs. It is mostly white, right? They would never, ever come to my neighborhood. I live in the hood. I would love to see them come to Pine Hills. I would love to see them. Oh, let me pause this for a second. That's Ford Fisher, and we'll get the word from him right after I say this. But I would love for them to come down to Gore and Paramore and Westmoreland, near downtown Orlando. I would love to see them try that shit in the hood. I would love to see them try that in Tangelo Park. In my neighborhood, I'm on the east side of John Young Parkway. The east side of Americana. Right? I would love to see them try that in Mercy Drive. Oh my God. Try that at Mercy Drive and WD Judge. Try it. Try it. I would love to see that. Please. Go to Washington Shores. Go to Washington Shores near Columbia Avenue. Go around Lake Man Apartments. Go near there, man, and try that. Try that in Richmond Heights. Go ahead. Try that in the hood. You won't fare so good. That's what I'm saying. Now, this isn't the only spot that they showed up. They also showed up at the happiest place on earth. So I'm going to share this with you guys. And these guys are a little bit different. They're a little bit different. They're a little bit more, how should I say, they're not the non-violent ones. See, the other ones were the red shirt wusses that were like, they were the red shirt wusses that were like, no, we just wanted non-violent and wake up white people. These guys are more true to their Nazi roots. Let's go.
This is the only thing that flag is truly good for. To do anything less than that with this degenerate piece of shit, one is promoting, condoning, and encouraging this. No more in America.
So they're right in front of Walt Disney World, which is pretty much the biggest entertainment capital attraction in the world here in Orlando, Florida. So I have Nazis to the north of me and Nazis to the south of me, basically. And they were literally at the gates of Walt Disney World, which basically is in front of Lake Buena Vista. I know exactly where that is. All I got to do is jump on I-4, and I can be there in like 15 minutes. That's where that is. Let's continue.
Thank you, man. Get out. Nobody wants to.
How much longer will you allow the Beaners to come in and burritotize Florida? How much longer are you going to allow the Jew to continue to parasite himself off of your hard work, off of your energy, off of the things that you do? How much longer are we going to do this, ladies and gentlemen?
Black people have been asking that question from them. Well, black people have been asking that question in regards to them. Like, how long are we going to allow these fuckers to colonize whatever we do and whatever we produce? Why?
But the time has come that we have to stop in defense of the white race.
They like to make
we can't even get our own government to stand for the white race.
So I'm going to share something that was kind of weird. So let me share this also. This was like weird to me. on. Wait. I should have timestamped it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Because we support a lot of his policies.
Oh. So this is it. Okay. Let's go to right here. Let's go.
Why the DeSantis flag?
Because we support a lot of his policies.
So there's DeSantis of supporters. That's no surprise. Let's continue.
A lot of his.
And he says that blacks benefit.
That's all they're good for.
So you agree with the statement that he made?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So these guys are basically saying the quiet part out loud. They actually want us to be back in slavery. They want us enslaved again. That's basically it.
What, slavery was good for the black race?
Fuck yeah.
How was it not? Seriously, ask yourself that. How was slavery not good for the black race? They want
Oh, we can go over this many reasons why. And we also know that this bleached Slim Jim is full of shit.
compensation for being here and all of this other shit. But please tell me, wasn't the fact that they got to stay here compensation enough for slavery?
You mean kidnapped, stolen? Half of us died on ships, and we literally had to jump to our deaths. Some of them actually threw us off the ship, and then half of us died because we were crammed, jam-packed below deck, where we had to sit in our own feces because they kept us in chains, and then they brought us here, raped, tortured, beat, and all the like. Hell, you guys fed our infants to alligators. Wait, what? Is that what he's saying?
When you stop and you look at the colors over in Africa right now, how are they living? What type of environment do they have? What type of civilization? Do you see them driving around in brand new cars? Do you see them living?
No, dipshit, because of imperialism and colonialism. Because your people keep going to Africa and extracting their resources and stealing it from them. So if y'all got out of Africa, then maybe, just maybe, Africans will actually do a lot better. But they're not. Because you guys actually have to steal shit. I'm not talking about all white people. I'm talking about these dipshits. Because you guys have to steal the shit because you guys can't do shit on your own. Because your ancestors of these Nazis were too fucking lazy to do their own shit. And so, guess what? They literally had to steal it in order to actually be okay. Are these
living in actual houses? No.
And yet, a lot of people are now realizing that houses made out of mud are actually more sustainable and a lot more healthier for us. And now people are doing it. They're just doing it with 3D printers now.
Of course not. So the nigger being brought over here, forced to be a slave for 150 years, and then turning around and being granted free honorary membership as a citizen in this country.
Actually, slavery actually never ended because we have mass incarceration, and the 13th Amendment actually never got rid of slavery. It just shifted it over to the prison industrial complex.
That was payment enough. They have it.
No, it was not payment enough. You actually stole us from our land. And then when we actually needed reparations for what the fuck they did to us, then General Sherman was like, okay, sure, 40 acres and a mule. And then Andrew Johnson reneged on that. So now you guys are in debt for trillions of dollars because they failed to actually pay the debt that was owed to us. So no, this dipshit is wrong.
10 times better than anybody in Africa as we speak.
No, because the thing is that you guys won't get your grubby little ashy hands out of Africa. That's the problem. And so the reason why Africa is not being able to achieve what it actually wants is because of these European nations, these Western nations having their grubby little ashy ass hands and their resources without actually trading with them in a fair way. So all the shit is because of criminal activity that the Western nations have been doing. This is why places like Gabon, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger had to kick the French out because they're sick and tired of being taken advantage of. That's why, but he's too chicken shit to actually research it because he wants to be right.
So at that point, yes, slavery was the greatest fucking thing to happen to these people.
Racist ass motherfucker.
We've seen it. Where else do they do great? In other white countries that also had them as slaves in the beginning. Where do they do bad at? In the countries that they were born free.
Niggers really believe in violence.
Announced you guys that
No, I don't believe so.
We're Ron's Holocaust task force.
We're his biggest supporters.
So, like, are you prepared? Like, what would you do? How would you respond to Ron DeSantis denouncing you guys? What would you say to that?
He's lying.
If it happened.
He's trying to secure the presidency. He'll say
Yeah, he's
whatever
running
he
for
needs to say.
president. He's got a face.
So they said if Ron DeSantis denounced him, they're like basically saying that he has to do what he has to do in order to get to the presidency. We know they're basically saying that we know he has to just say that in order to get to where he needs to go, but that's not what he actually doesn't mean to denounce us. That's basically what they're saying.
Israel actually gives out a document to all new politicians on how to answer the Israel solidarity with Israel. So Ron DeSantis currently is just doing smoke and mirrors with them to act as if he is truly a friend of the Jew, when in reality he is a friend of white America. And the most prominent example is his smoke and mirrors campaign of HB 269. HB 269 he signs in Israel. Think about that for a minute. Actually in Israel signing a bill of Israel, the people of America. And of course, they instantly went said and done with. It didn't stop anything. The Jews have come to realize that Ron DeSantis isn't the guy they thought he was.
So there's another part where they actually asked him about Trump, and I found this to be actually interesting.
Is the only way America can still sustain itself and prosper.
Civilization is white. You know that in Africa they have a American colony, Liberia. It's a complete shithole. They don't understand how it works. They only understand brute violence.
You do realize he's going to beat your ass, right? Snicker licker. Do the snicker licker.
Hey, are you saving money for when you're a single mom?
Handle that.
Did you guys like President Trump?
No, well, he's a pussy. He didn't do anything he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
And if you vote for him again, he gets in, he's not going to do anything. He married all of his kids off to Jews.
They don't like Trump. They actually don't like Trump. They hate Trump. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm done with these dipshits. Okay. So that's basically what happened. And so you have one side that's basically wanting to put all of black people back into slavery. And then you have another side that just wants all the black people to go. So they don't know what they want. Because one side wants one thing and one side wants another. So they don't even know what the fuck they want. But the thing is that this is what happened, and it's a little too close to comfort. And they are trying to gin up this disdain among poor white people and working class white people in order to stay, in order to think that anybody who is different from them is the reason why they have the issues that they have. This is what happens when you get demagogues who are in the upper echelons of society. And what they do is that they go, hey, poor and working class white person, you know why your life is so shitty? It is because, and insert Black, Mexican, or Latino, LGBTQ, neurodivergent, or they'll say immigrants or Muslims, right? Insert anybody that is disenfranchised in this country, and they'll always say, well, your problem is them. And then guess what? They will use the ideologies that these guys were spewing in order to make white people think that their problems will magically go away when people like me are no longer here. I'm going to give some white people a little dose of truth. Let's say hypothetically, their wishes all come true. We go, poof, all the marginalized people are gone. And America is now a white ethno state. There is nobody else left. Guess what's going to happen? Then there's going to be discrimination against Irish. Then there's going to be discrimination against Italian. Then there's going to be discrimination against anybody that's Eastern European. And it's going to happen again. Because the point is, it's not the fact that you have multiple people of different backgrounds, cultures, and creeds. The problem is the top versus the bottom. But the people with swastikas are too damn stupid to realize that. They're too fucking idiotic to see that they're being lied to by the people who own Raytheon, the people who own Nestle, the people who own Apple, the people who own Microsoft and Amazon and Twitter. They don't understand, they don't get it, and they don't want to get it. This is why dialectical materialism and intersectionality are so important, because then you realize it all comes down to class. That's what it is. If you're gay, it is not just a social issue, it is a class issue. If you're trans, it's a class issue. If you're Black, it's a class issue. If you're disabled, it's a class issue. If you're a woman, it's a class issue, both cis and trans. If you are neurodivergent, it's a class issue. If you're an immigrant, it's a class issue. If you're a Muslim, it's a class issue. It all goes down to class. And that's the point. You have to realize that if you're part of any of these marginalized groups, you always look, we can go over all the statistics. It's always, well, if you're part of this group, you actually make this much less. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's a class issue. And they're so focused on the culture war that they have no idea that getting rid of people like me will never solve their problems. Getting rid of people like you is not the answer. The answer is the class issue. And once you walk away from misogyny, misogynoir, racism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, when you walk away from Islamophobia anti-Semitism, when you walk away from these things and you actually start looking at it from top versus bottom, you start to see people that look like me as your ally instead of your enemy. These swastika carrying dipshits are literally doing the work for the billionaires. They're literally doing the work for the corporate dictators. That's what they're doing. And they're not in the hoods because, number one, they know they get their shit split. But secondly, because they're trying to recruit more of the white people in order to join their ranks, to think that just because there are people who may look, love, worship, or identify differently than them, then somehow, some way, then if we get rid of them, the country will be better. And they do not research their history. Because I want to bet you about a third of those motherfuckers are Irish. And we all know how some of the ruling class, especially back then, felt about Irish people and Italian people and people from Eastern Europe, especially people from the Slavic countries. They see you as trash. You don't think they're still not going to go to that even after America were to become a white ethno state? Because they would turn from a white ethno state to a Western European ethno state. And then they would go from Western European ethno state to a British ethno state. The problem is they've allowed people to demonize and scapegoat anybody and everybody. And I played this and I did all this to bring this back to class. Ultimately, by the way, if we actually had it good in this country, what power would they have? The best way to beat these guys, the best way to beat down this ideology is by improving this country on a fundamental level. Housing, healthcare, food, education, utilities. Stop these wars. Get money out of politics. Because they can't recruit if people are doing good. Oh, it's the fault of the immigrants. When if you're doing good, you're not caring about more immigrants coming to the country. If everybody's doing good, they're not going to care about black people. By the way, if you get rid of the poverty issue, crime is going to go down. The fuel to their fire is getting taken away. The answer is communism. But they don't like that. So they automatically are assuming that we're the answer to their problem, when in reality, the people that look like them that are exploiting everybody are actually the problem. They're the problem. The system is the problem. But they don't want to hear that. And also, I am a believer that you cannot tolerate intolerance. Because once you start to tolerate intolerance, then that intolerance grows, and then it takes out everybody that we should be tolerant of. They have an ideology where they want to eliminate everybody and anybody that is slightly different. The difference between Nazis and communists are this. Nazis want to eliminate anybody and everybody that is different outside of this tiny little box. Communists just want to eliminate the Nazi ideology. That's it. And we want everybody of every color and stripe and box that is not damaging to other groups of people to thrive by means of the workers, by means of the people. That's the difference. One is a death cult, and one is a life cult. I want you guys to be here. I want you guys to stay here. I want you guys to thrive. And I want us to spread that thriving around the world. That's the difference. This is why I will be going out on the 23rd along with the Orlando Mutual Aid Chapter to feed and to give out care packages. Well, we won't be feeding this time. We'll be giving out care packages to the homeless. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. Look at what Rome is doing and look at what these Nazis are doing. Which one is actually helping the people? That tells you everything you need to know. That's it. All right. Now, let me go to the chat. Because I know y'all got some things to say. I know you. Ooh, I can't wait. Ooh, Lord. Let me head to Rockfin real quick. And then I'll go to the rest of the chat. This is going to be interesting. All right. Roger. Oh, buddy, oh, pal. Roger says, I think it's a great idea for them to do would be to march into Crip territory in Cali with them red shirts, but make a stop at one at blood territory to see if they can recruit and try to convince them by saying, hey, we both got red shirts, so why not join with us and delete some black people? Y'all do it anyway. We just want to help make the Bloods rethink what they're doing while killing other blacks. Interesting point. Natilla says, funny how capitalists hate capitalism. Who are these assholes? All over America, people don't organically think like that. People don't think like that. Makes me think that's the government trying to stir up some bullshit. By the way, it is also funny how all these people have their faces covered. Sounds like a Fed to me. Roger Meadows says, wow, they seem like a fun bunch to be around. We should invite them to come to the Caribbean Day Parade tomorrow in Brooklyn. Then 2 weeks from today, come to the African American Day Parade up in Harlem. Caribbeans and us African Americans can show them what it means to season their food. Before you know it, we'll have their mouth burning from the Caribbean spice and repair their soul with that soul food. Yep. Yep. We just want to do self-defense. That's all it is. That's all it is. Rolando Ellisworth says, Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of religion. Yep. Hasbin Hotel says, great point, Jaybe. Even if you had an all-white state, they would find a minority white group to hate. Yep. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter. Media Dream says Italian are very racist. That's why I'm calling them out. Some Italian dudes from New York making fun of Mexicans when I'm lighter skinned than they are and better looking. Oh my goodness. What if you had a black Irish Terrier? Oh, I forgot. Thank you so much for I got to show you all this. Oh my goodness. These guys are not fucking serious. I'm going to share with you guys this too, because I saw this and I wanted to bust out laughing at these fools. I really did. Let me share this with y'all, because these, hang on. Where is it? I know I have it around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. All right. Let me share this with y'all as well, because I saw this. What in that? Okay. All right. Let me see. I'm going to find it. Hang on. Okay. Hold on. Let's see. Damn. Are they going to turn the camera on? I'm going to find this. This was just like, what in the world? Dude, shut the fuck up, these damn Nazis. God, they're shrill. Okay, hang on. Move out the way, you idiot. I'm trying to see. Okay. This guy's in the fucking way. I'm trying to. I'm going to show you to you guys. They actually brought a dog with them. And I was just like, the hell? Are you kidding me right now? Anywho, I'm not going to waste too much time, but they brought a corgi. They brought a corgi with them. A corgi. Not a Rottweiler. Not a Doberman Pinscher. Not a pit bull. A corgi. They brought a corgi with them. One of the smartest, sweetest, cutest dogs you can actually have. And they brought a corgi to a white supremacist event. The link is also in the description. It's wild. A corgi. Poor dog. Brian Grigsby says Florida has had 2 Nazi rallies with this DeSantis blessing. Let me go to the super chats. Scum 777 says, of course, Nazis support Biden. That tells you whatever you need to know. I mean, shouldn't this be a lesson to people like Crystal Ball, Kyle Kalinske, Sam Cedar, Emma Vigeland, all these people who are like, oh my God, we need to keep Biden in office. If Nazis are in support of them, maybe you lost the plot. Media Dreams says, Caleb Maupin says that the people we need to reach out to, he says, we as socialists have more in common with these people than with woke liberals. wants to reach out to them and make them realize that people like me are not their enemy, that is top down instead of the people that are different from them, by all means, go ahead. You, as a white person, go out, do that. I ain't risking my life. I ain't risking my life. Nope. If you want to go out there and do that, you go ahead, do your thing. But I'm not losing my life. Not for these motherfuckers. Thank you so much for the super sticker reality revolution. Plato's Beer says solidarity from the CPGBM. I don't know what that is, but thank you. CPGB. I don't know what that is. Please let me know what it is. Thank you so very much. Has been Hotel says I'm a fan of third wave socialism, democracy at the workplace, and direct democracy for society. It's based. Hasbin Hotel says as a white guy, I'm being honest here, I find darker skinned women other than white to be the most attractive. That's cool. Respect Hasbin Hotel. Respect. I like dudes of all races. I don't discriminate, baby. Let's go. Rolando Ellsworth, you win. You win. So, in conclusion, those knuckle-dragging mouth breathers are feds. Yes, they are. Oh, my God. And the funny thing is, my question is, where was the police? Because I didn't see the police out there. And even if the police was out there, they'd be out there protecting them. Now, let somebody like me be out there with a hammer and sickle flag. You bet those police will be harassing my ass. And that's just the thing it is. I honestly really think that they actually don't have any power within the United States when in fact they actually have all the power. And oh, boo-hoo, the white race has diminished in population. Oh, boo-hoo. Look, to the privileged, equality feels like oppression. Because wasn't there a gigantic minority of black people in the United States during slavery? We have been 13% of the population for going on, 200 years now? Why has the population of black people have not grown in the United States? Anyone? The population of Latinos has grown. There's more Latinos in the United States now than there are black people. Why has the population of black people grown? Because we keep getting killed off. And by the way, just another thing. When that asshat was talking about, oh, well, if we had, have a white ethno state, it should be full of all white people. If the white people from the European nations haven't colonized Turtle Island, who would be the majority living on this continent? It would be indigenous Native Americans. If they didn't bring their nasty ass diseases, if they didn't bring and try to take over this land, this entire continent will be swimming with Native and Indigenous Americans from various tribes. And because they're so loving and so welcoming, they would have been like, hey, yeah, come over and share the resources with us. We're cool with you. And that would have been that. But no, they had to steal it. And that's what they did. And now they want to claim it as their own. So ultimately, they genocided their way to this point. And they want to continue to keep that going. But it's not, because we're actually going to have a revolution. And that revolution is going to mean that it's going to be a worker-centered country. A multicultural, multiracial, worker-centered country. And that's exactly what it's going to be. And that's how it's going to be spread throughout the world. Because we're not going to keep this going. This genocide, this hatred. That's what we're going to do. We all essentially are part of one another. Unemployed scholar, Mexicans are indigenous. Just like Hondurans, Nicaraguans, just like, Colombians, just like Bolivians, Venezuelans. Yeah. They have indigenous, some of them are mixed with African and European, but yeah, indigenous. So Plato's Beer said indigenous people were nations, not tribe. That's a seller colonial meme to diminish the high civilizations they found in the Americas. Duly noted. I try to use nations interchangeably. So if I offended you at all, if anybody's indigenous and saying tribes, I apologize. I typically use those interchangeably. And then I also apply that to the indigenous Africans as well as tribes and nations as well. But I don't mean any disrespect. So just wanted to put that out there. Plato's Beard, so that you don't think I'm being malicious. But yeah, I'm trying not to have the subtler colonialist language. But I just want to let you guys know that when I say tribes, I also mean nations. But I'll try to be more cognizant of my language as well going on in the future. So thank you very much, Plato's Beard. And yeah, Javier says, I'm 5th generation since my great grandmother was freed from slavery. Yeah. All right. So now let me check. All right. So I got to get going. I'm hungry. Like, I started eating in front of y'all. But yeah. Yeah, Mike says it's America going to privatization with water. They're trying. They're definitely trying. Say clans instead. I don't know. If you are indigenous, then that's a possibility. But I want to be respectful of the people who are indigenous, who are in the chat, that may correct me on that. But if you guys have not, please make sure to like the stream. If you guys have not, then you guys can go to patreon.com/Revolutionary Blackout Network. If you guys have not already, then you guys can become part of our mailing list. You guys can go to revolutionaryblackout.substack.com. And we are also raising money for our graphics designer, Aaron, at Revolutionary Blackout for Venmo, and then Cash App is $Mutual Aid Forever. So thank you so very much. And be sure to tune in to Sabby at 5. I know she'll be at 5. I don't think there's anything going on this channel a little bit later, but I know Nick and CJ will be on tomorrow, so make sure to be prepared for that. That's going to be great discussions. And I think Miss Western Mars is going to be having on Oliver Anthony on today, so I hope they have some tough questions for him, because there are people on either side that don't think he should go on, people who do think he should go on. I think that asking very pertinent questions should be revealing of the person who they're interviewing. So I will try to watch. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Also thank everybody again for the donations for the Orlando chapter, for mutual aid. Thank you once again. Also, congratulations to Rome and Right Brain TV for winning an award for Rome Deaf to America. I am so proud of all of you for winning that award. You guys deserve it, and everything else positive that comes your way from that documentary. So thank you so very much for that. I'm not sure. I think they played that clip yesterday that Rome was doing basically a narration of. So I won't get into that, but I will be ending this stream with a video as well, and we'll get into that in a second. But I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. And like I always say, look, there is a lot that we have to go through in this country in order to make it better. But mutual aid, as well as building up the base of support in order to make this a bottom-up controlled country, is important. The workers need to unite, and we need to throw away a lot of these discriminatory type of mindsets that we have, so that we realize it's not the people on either side of us that's the problem. It's the people that are running our government, that are the corporate dictators. These are the people that we really need to have a focus on. Throw away the white supremacist thinking, throw away the racist thinking, the misogyny, the transphobia, the homophobia, the xenophobia, or the Islamophobia. Even though and some of us may be atheists, and we have our issues with religion. As long as you have people who are religious that aren't trying to push their beliefs on others, and as long as you have religions that aren't trying to make people follow their beliefs, then I say, hey, cool. If not, it's like, hey, stop it. Just let people live their lives. So we also have to be cognizant of that. Some people who are atheists have to be cognizant of that, not to paint religious people with a broad brush, which I think a lot of atheist people are extremely brilliant, and they already know that. I just want to put that out there as well. As well as some religious people also need to be very cognizant of people being different from you. And you can't paint everybody with a broad brush. And so this is why it is important for us to see this as class issues. So water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. And smoke them if you got them. Drink clean water when you water your plants and water yourselves. And do not allow it to be privatized. And fuck Nazis. So I'm going to end with a funny closing out. And so I hope you guys appreciate this. And he's gonna make a very good point. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. I'll see you guys on Tuesday when I go live on my channel, where I'll be talking to Miss Cynthia about citizen ballot initiatives to overturn qualified immunity. We're going to be talking about that. It's going to be a really great conversation. I can't wait. So be there or be square on my channel at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, I'll see you guys later. Oh, what? Forehead kisses. Mwah! To all of you. Duh. You know I like you. You know I love you. Bye. All right. Take care.
70,000 white women with dreadlocks are currently trapped in a dry lake bed due to flooding. That's the only way. What if I did it like that? I think that's the best way to open, right? Because who the fuck? They're like, no, Burning Man is actually about self-sufficiency and how you can survive any. Look at me surviving Burning Man in my fucking home. I don't have to travel to the middle of a dry lake bed in fucking Nevada desert to build a temporary city when we're in the middle of a fucking homelessness crisis. I also have to sit in a long line of traffic, a mile deep, that was caused by climate protesters blocking the single fucking road in and out of the goddamn festival. And why were they blocking it? To fucking protest the amount of fucking carbon being dumped into the atmosphere by a bunch of fucking tech bros driving out to the middle of the fucking Nevada desert to set up their fucking RVs so they can take ayahuasca and fuck each other. You can do that at home, Greg and Barry and Moonbeam and whatever else you fucking Caucasian dreadlock dipshits. Oh, but I have my bicycle. You're in the fucking desert. You're not supposed to be there. It's in an extinct fucking lake. And now it's flooded. Why? Because of the fucking climate change, you morons. That's right. And that's why one of you assholes out there at Burning Man, you called the cops on the climate protesters who are blocking the road. And you told the cops that one of the protesters was shooting at cars. So what the cops do, they showed up and rammed the fucking protesters and jumped out holding up guns. Listen, cops love to pull guns on fucking protesters. You didn't have to add to the flyer there, huh, Burning Man? You didn't have to add to the fucking fire, add a little gasoline to the fucking climate protest by screaming that these fucking protesters who were unarmed were being violent. No, enjoy taking a bunch of Molly while you get trench foot, you piece of shit. I hope while you're paying $20,000 for your fucking RV rental so you can hang out with 3 other guys in fucking Patagonia vests while looking around for white girls with fucking dreadlocks who won't even make fucking eye contact with you. I hope it's fucking worth it by the time you get back to fucking San Francisco to be pulled up on attempted fucking murder charges for calling in a fake 911 call. I hope that's fucking worth it. To the other 69,999 of you, fucking stop building a temporary city in the middle of nowhere while we're in the middle of an unhoused fucking homeless problem. Okay? You know what brings fucking housing prices up? I'm going to tell you something. It's one small thing. I know one of you are going to yell permitting, but I bet you lumber costs aren't fucking helping things when you go and build 20,000 fucking planks of wood in the middle of the goddamn nowhere just to light it on fire so you feel like you're one with the universe. Okay? All right, Stacy?